Simplify, simplify, simplify. Resistance is your ally. Human beings are such funny creatures. Within each of us, there lives a timeless, formless energy that we call mind. Our minds grant us the ability to manifest whatever we imagine. Seriously, we all possess the ability to make our wildest imaginings our reality in one form or another. As simple and powerful as this superpower is, we're all currently discovering how easily we can destroy ourselves with it. When we look around at the world before us, we see nothing short of madness. Endless suffering, violence, greed, extortion, lies. Life is a living nightmare for so many people. It's only natural to feel like the entire world is on fire. It's all the more natural to wonder how we got here. The cherry on top is that if we were to ask the people in power, they'd tell us that everything is just fine, that they're the good guys, and that all this insanity is the price of freedom. Sound familiar? So, for real, how did we get here? Well, if you want to get anywhere meaningful with such a question, or any question of that scale for that matter, you must simplify things. You need to break things down into manageable pieces. You can't take the whole thing to the face. You'll never understand, let alone remember it. That ability to simplify is a skill. It's not something we're born with. It's something we recognize and train. It's a muscle, just like mental fortitude or judgment. To me, simplification is a form of alchemy. We must first distill a large concept like corruption in modern society into smaller, more accessible pieces before we attempt to take on the whole multidimensional, highly nuanced structure. If we don't, we'll be crushed by the weight of what we don't know that we don't know. As a result, those of us that can take action are taking action by simplifying our goal and means of achievement. By simplifying our focus on the essential pieces that make up a society, like community or individual needs, we get direct access to the heart of the humans at the center of the corruption. Our shared grief of a world that was promised to us but ultimately never was becomes something we can hold in our hands. It unifies us beyond all the weaponized classifications modern society uses to divide us all up. Piercing the veil of propaganda to the pain we all experience just trying to live in 2026 is hard work, but it is all the more worthwhile. This pain we're all carrying is something we can lift together. We can make the weight of the world so much lighter. But when I say that, there's resistance within you, isn't there? Why wouldn't there be? It's an awfully naive way to look at the world. It's so simple and doesn't have nearly enough nuance to apply to everyone. Furthermore, I'm not the first person to say this, and if it was so simple, wouldn't we already be doing it? How would we even do it anyway? I'm glad you asked. Our minds aren't bound by time or physical constraints like our bodies are, so it's only natural that our simplification muscle is a lot weaker than our imagination muscle. We're all constantly imagining and manifesting the things we consistently think about, whether we're aware of it or not. Because of this, it is so much easier to talk yourself out of something that calls to your heart than it is to find the courage to just do it. The problem is that when we decide to pursue a goal, our minds don't engage with our goals the same way that our body does. Our bodies experience every single moment of existence, leading up to and after the achievement of the goal. Our minds, on the other hand, can imagine the entirety of the journey and the levels of resistance we're likely to face along the way in an instant. So when I say we can make the weight of the world so much lighter together, your mind, our minds say, how? Our minds alone can paint pictures of a future so horrifying that we won't take a single step towards our original goal. We believe the picture our mind paints in the moment is our destiny. Putting it this way, it would seem that the mind is more of an enemy than an ally. I wouldn't blame anyone for thinking this way. We've made an enemy of this most powerful tool unconsciously for most of our existence. But still, I ask you, what if it's not? What if it didn't have to be this way? What if the pessimistic portrait our minds tend to paint when our goals get big enough is actually valuable data? It's not exactly enjoyable to have an idea and watch your mind suck the life out of it in an instant. But something interesting happens when we dive deeper into that scenario we've all experienced. So you're watching this idea flattened and lifeless on the floor. It was once full of vibrance, possibility, air. Let's take the idea of making the weight of the world much lighter together today. Lovely idea. Our mind enters the chat with some questions, though. Questions like, how? Let's say you didn't have an answer for how just yet. You just really believe in the idea. That now has a pretty massive hole in it. It's on the floor right now. Is that it? You could walk away, and most do. But what if we didn't? What if we decided we would find an answer for how? After all, it's a pretty important question to answer if we'd like to see our idea come to life, right? Let's say we gave it some time and searched for how we would make the world lighter. There are countless problems to solve in our world, but which of them could we actually have an impact on? Well, if we simplified things, we'd realize that some of those problems are beyond our reach. Most of them, even. We'd eventually have to narrow things down to the problems that actually are within our reach. Then our search is less of a search and more of a multiple choice question. Our search radius went from billions of problems to 4. And so inevitably, we find something. We decide that the space within our reach is mental and emotional. Our answer to how might sound something like this. How, you ask? Well, with the current iteration of the internet, we can help make the world lighter emotionally and mentally. We can create spaces on the internet where people can recognize their humanity within themselves and others. Our minds will surely challenge this idea with some more questions. Questions like, that's an awfully small contribution, isn't it? You might then have to accept that your contribution toward a lighter world is but a drop in a vast ocean. You might lament the scale of the sea in the face of your goal, and it's only natural. But what if we decided that our best right now was enough? That our contribution was much like a small fire, and that when fed intentionally, it could become far more than it ever could have been alone. Just like that, your idea has grown more sound, all on its own because of the challenge your mind presented. But of course, our minds don't just stop challenging us. It might challenge us again immediately after with something like, who cares? And just like that, your lovely idea is back on the floor with another hole in it. The fact is, the world is vast. There's always a chance that no one will care. But here's the thing. That's not just a chance, my friends. It's a guarantee. There will always be people who couldn't care less about what you have to say. And let's just say you didn't have an answer for who cares yet. You just really believe in the idea that has another massive hole in it, once full of vibrance, possibility, and air. Strangely, just like last time though, when you embarked to find an answer, you found one. And once you've filtered out everyone who wouldn't care no matter what you said, you realize that those people left are those who do. So, your answer to the challenge this time might sound something like, people looking for this idea will care. It's for them. At this, your mind might be silent for a time, but you know as sure as sunrise that it'll be back with more questions. So let's zoom out now and look at this process as a whole. Yes, it is unpleasant to gaze at yet another idea flat and lifeless. But by finding the answers for yourself, the idea improves with every challenge. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is an African proverb that I'm using in defense of our minds. Your mind wants to succeed as much as your heart, even when it doesn't feel like that. If you want to go far and make that dream in your heart a reality, you need to make peace with resistance. Our minds provide the resistance we must overcome if we want to see our dreams become reality. It can feel like an unrelenting enemy with the way it challenges you. But what if it's your ally? The whole of life is overcoming resistance and using it to move forward, to climb higher and to see more. But it's not always a matter of force. Sometimes it's about acceptance, the soft, yielding side of force with infinite capacity. But that's for another video. There's a reason why our lives are lived moment to moment, day by day. We don't live weeks or months at a time. We live in imperceptible fractions of seconds. We created the construct of time to carve out a space of meaning for our short, mysterious, and wild lives out of necessity. As we spoke about in a previous video, you can acquire all the knowledge in the world about a particular subject, but if you don't then process that knowledge into applicable pieces, if you don't simplify and apply it, it's useless. If we didn't find a way to process the eternally changing nature of reality into digestible bites of time, we'd have no way of understanding or contextualizing our experience on Earth. Through the construct of time, we were able to discover that this ever-changing reality of ours actually has a rhythm. The only real clock is the sun. So by breaking down our days into pieces and simplifying the flux of reality into these bits of time, we are able to find predictability and meaning in our trips around the sun. Modern society is no different. We can simplify society down to groups of people, and we can simplify those groups of people into individuals. You don't have to be a member of those groups to understand their motivations. You just have to understand what a human being needs. And if you can figure out what a human being needs, you can reasonably guess what they want. And you're a human being, aren't you? I'll see you next week.